Can I coilover swap my Mustang before my wife gets home and needs her garage spot back? It's 1:58, she gets home around 5. Only one way to find out. Those of you that follow me are probably thinking, didn't he just lower that car? You would be correct. Less than a month ago, I put in a set of lowering springs and shocks that I found on Facebook Marketplace, but they came with the wrong camber caster plates. So I have the stock plates in still, and it's not right. And I don't need an alignment rack to tell me that that's probably too much camber for the street. But luckily, while I was still looking for camber caster plates, Aaron from Maxpeedingrods reached out and said they've got a new coilover conversion kit for the SN95 and they wanted me to try it out. These are single adjustable coilovers with 24 clicks of adjustment, and they're also camber adjustment as well, and height adjustable from 1 to 3 inches a drop. So we'll see how low we can go on these and get away with. You can't actually convert the rear of one of these cars to coilover easily, so they come with these adjustable spring perches that the spring then sits on top of, and you can adjust the height that way, as well as some shorter and adjustable rear shocks. We're gonna do the front first. Let's get into it. Get the car jacked up. Jack stands are in. Get the wheels off. Wheel goes under the car because I'm paranoid. Take the caliper off. Disconnect the sway bar. Support the control arm with a jack. We'll take the top nut off. We let everything down. Pop the old strut off. Now we gotta carefully remove the old spring. We gotta drill these rivets out too. There we go. Now we have to decide how low we want the car. You actually adjust ride height by loosening this nut here and threading the bottom part cylinder further up here. The lowest we can go before it starts popping out the bottom is about 63 mil. So I think that's probably your minimum. And I want this to be crazy low, so let's start there. I think we'll bolt the bottom on first. I actually don't know. All right, I've got them mocked up here. With a jack under the control arm, I get about 15.5 inches from the center here to the wheel well. And with the old lowering springs, I'm 17.5. So this is gonna lower the car another 2 inches. I don't know if that's practical, but we're gonna see how it looks. Got everything tightened up, brake and tire back on. Time to do the same on the other side. Passenger side's done. Let's get this thing on the ground, see how the front looks. That's definitely a bit lower. Let's take it outside and see how it looks. That's quite a bit better. Time to do the back. All right, we got the back of the car on jack stands. We'll disconnect this shock as well as the extra Mustang shock before we droop the rear end. There we go. Now we drop the rear end down. And because I've already got lowering springs in here, these pretty much just fall right out. If you have factory springs, you'll need a pry bar. This is what the rear spring perch looks like. This is how it's adjustable. The funny thing is, the top is there, but the spring's over here. We actually have to jack the rear end way, way up to get this into place. And then what stops the springs from falling out when you go over a bump is that the shocks are height adjustable. So you set it up so that at full droop, the shocks are what bottom out, not the springs falling out from their perches. All right, we're gonna have to adjust the springs up a little bit. I might have got overexcited. We've only got maybe 14 inches to the fender, and the front is about 15.5. I added about an inch. Let's see how that looks. As you can see, super precise measurements, but that's 14.5. The front's 14.5, so we'll bolt the wheels on, see if we're close. Absolutely nailed it. Time to get the shocks on. I guess you have to take the knob off before you take that nut off, huh? All right, I think we're gonna install the top mounting point of the shock and then jack the car up and slowly let the rear end down until we've got the 5 millimeters of preload on the springs that the instructions suggest. Then we'll adjust the bottom of the shocks to the right length and we should be good. She got home before I finished, but we're really close. Just a quick note, you're gonna have to nudge this brake line a little bit out of the way for the locking ring. If you've got bad brake lines, that's gonna cause a problem for you. Luckily, these ones are pretty good. All right, we've got the tops installed. Put the adjusting nuts back on. I've got them set 6 clicks from full tight just to see how that goes. I think this is where I'm comfortable with. The back of the mount is just starting to come off the control arm, but they're still very, very firmly in there. That should never cause problems. And we only have that much adjustment to go. We've got that adjusted, just have to tighten down some of the shock bolts and our locking collar here. We can see how this turned out. That turned out exactly as I'd hoped. In the next video, I'm gonna do some driving impressions, but it's still kind of late winter here in Canada, so I don't have insurance on the car yet. I'll have that for probably first of next week. If you want to get this lowering kit for your own car, I'll have a link, you know where to take a look, and I'll catch you in the next one.